Today, we're diving into this really incredible system of ancient purification laws. And, you should just forget everything you think you know about soap and water, because in this world, being clean had a much, much deeper meaning. It was all about being whole and being a real functioning part of the community. All right, let's get into it. So here's where we're headed. First, we're going to unpack this whole concept of ritual and cleanness, what it even is. Then we'll walk through the exact step-by-step process for cleansing a person and then for cleansing a house. And stick with me because at the end, we're going to see the beautiful logic that ties this whole system together. Okay, first things first. What did it actually mean to be clean or unclean back then? I can pretty much guarantee it's not what you're thinking. Okay, so this is the absolute key to understanding everything else. Ritual uncleanness was all about your spiritual and social status. It meant you were temporarily unfit to be part of the community. So think of it less like being physically dirty and more like being in a kind of social and spiritual quarantine. Now, let's see how this actually played out for a real person. I want you to imagine someone who's just recovered from a pretty serious skin disease. The sickness itself is gone, the physical danger has passed, but believe it or not, their ordeal is far from over. They still aren't considered whole. So they're stuck in this terrible limbo. They're physically healthy, right? But they are completely isolated, socially and spiritually. They can't just walk back into their life. Nope. A formal, very public process is required to mark their transition from a state of disorder, of chaos, back into the ordered life of the community. And this is where the priests and these amazing rituals come into play. And that whole process kicks off with a deeply symbolic ceremony. It's called the Ritual of the Two Birds. This is the first really powerful step on their journey back home. Now, what's so cool here is that the materials for this ritual are incredibly specific, and every single one is symbolic. I mean, you've got life, represented by the live birds and the fresh, living water. You have strength from the cedar wood, and you have purification from the hyssop and the scarlet yarn. It's basically a specialized toolkit for a very specialized spiritual job. The ceremony itself is just wow. It's so powerful. One bird is sacrificed, and its blood mingles with that life-giving water. The second, living bird, is then dipped into this mixture and used to sprinkle the person 7 times. And 7 is that number that always symbolizes completion. The person is then officially declared clean. And then, and this is the amazing part, the live bird is set free, just released into the wild. It's this potent, beautiful visual of the impurity being literally carried away for good. But get this, that dramatic ceremony, it's just the beginning. It lets the person back inside the camp, sure, but they still can't go into their own home or into the sacred spaces. So let's look at what it takes to get them all the way back to full restoration. A mandatory 7-day waiting period comes next. And during this time, the person has to wash their clothes and, this is wild, shave off all their hair. We're talking head, beard, eyebrows, everything. It's a total, complete reset, a symbolic removal of every last trace of their past condition. Only then, on the 8th day, can the final ceremony of atonement, the ritual that finally makes them at one again with their community, actually happen. So on day 8, a whole series of offerings are required at the sanctuary. And this is where we see a truly revolutionary part of this system. It's accessibility. I mean, just look at this. The standard offerings were pretty significant, 3 lambs plus flour and oil. But for the poor, the law made a specific provision. Notice how they could bring birds instead of the more expensive lambs. The path to wholeness was open to everyone, no matter how much money they had. That is such a powerful statement on social inclusion. The climax of this whole final day is this unique anointing ritual. The priest takes some blood from the offering and later some oil and touches it to the person's right earlobe, right thumb, and right big toe. So why these specific spots? Well, it's this powerful symbol of consecrating the whole person, purifying what they hear, what they do with their hands, and where their feet will take them from now on. They are now fully, completely cleansed and rededicated to community life. So that's how a person is restored. But this system understood that this kind of disorder could affect more than just people. What happens if the problem isn't in a body, but in a building? Well, the system has a whole procedure for that too. It's for what it calls a defiling mold, which is not just a little mildew, but a sign of a deep, persistent corruption within the structure itself. The process starts with careful observation.
The owner reports the problem, but the priest doesn't just rush to judgment. No, first, the house is completely emptied out. You don't want anyone's belongings getting contaminated. Then the priest inspects the mold and quarantines the entire house for 7 days. It's a very deliberate wait-and-see approach. The clock is officially ticking. Now, if that mold has spread after 7 days, the actions escalate dramatically. First, they try to surgically remove the problem, tear out the affected stones, scrape down the walls, and replaster. But if that fails and the mold comes back, the judgment is final. The contamination is considered incurable, and the entire house must be demolished. Its materials are taken to an unclean place outside the camp. That is how seriously they took this threat to the community's health and order. But what if the scraping and replastering actually works? What if the disease is gone from the house? Well, this is where it gets truly fascinating. The cleansed house is purified with the exact same two-bird ritual that was used for a person. One bird is sacrificed, the other is dipped in the blood and water to sprinkle the house, and then it's set free to fly away. Incredible, right? So what does all this mean? I mean, why such intricate detail for both people and for property? This is the moment where we uncover the beautiful underlying logic of the entire purity system, where everything just clicks into place.
The crucial point here is the pattern. As you can see so clearly, a person and a house can both suffer from a defiling condition. Both have to be isolated. Both are restored using the same powerful symbols of blood and water. Both undergo the very same two-bird ritual, and both are ultimately declared clean and fully restored to the community. It's a completely consistent, logical system for restoring wholeness.
And that's exactly what the source text itself tells us the purpose of it all is. You see, this isn't just some random collection of rules. It's a framework. It's like a diagnostic tool for the community to identify disruption and then to provide a clear, public, and symbolic path back to order, health, and holiness. And all of this leaves us with a final thought to chew on. This ancient system had these really clear markers for when a crisis was over, like a ribbon cutting for a new house or a huge welcome home party for a restored individual. So the question for us is, what rituals do we have today? What signals do we use to officially declare that a difficult chapter is closed and that it's safe for life to return to normal? Thanks for joining me for this explainer.